Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Well, look, both Valenti bases are off the wall. You can kind of see the Tobias hanging out over there, and the Music Man's there. I think the Hamer's probably off camera. This video has nothing to do with bass guitars. I should make some more bass guitar videos and talk about some of that stuff. But this isn't going to be that video. I've been talking a lot about 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, my examination of it, and talking about things like where the rules don't necessarily match and where sometimes if you try to combine an abstract and specific type or granular type mechanics together, it very often produces like a monster. And I know I've talked about this particular thing I'm going to talk about a little bit before, but I want to kind of return to it because I kind of came up with this absurd little example. But think of this from the standpoint of people who have never played role-playing games before, who are coming in trying to learn how the game works, trying to wrap their head around how the game works, and then discovering some spots in the rules of 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons where things don't necessarily make sense conceptually. And I believe part of it is just history and piling things one on top of another and trying to approach things from an abstract manner and a granular manner all at the same time. And so we're going to take this little hypothetical situation where we've got the guy, the Black Knight, the evil person, and we've got a party of 5 people. And right now the Black Knight has just attacked player 1. We've rolled initiative. We're in combat. And so he's already spent his attack. Player 1 and player 3 are actually engaged with the Black Knight in combat. Player 2 is a short distance away trying to figure out what to do. Players 4 and 5 are further back in cover. We'll say they're the wizard and the rogue. They're being smart and staying away from this superbly armored and really very well equipped guy that could probably cut them to ribbons. So player 1 says, I hit the Black Knight's sword away with my club as hard as I can, trying to knock it across the room. He's going to try to disarm him. And he's successful. The DM says it falls at his feet. Player 1, dude, I have like a 21 strength. I bashed the hell out of it. Its sword flies across the room. DM, I said it lands at his feet. And he opens up the player's handbook and he points to the rule about how it lands at his feet. Because we've decided that maybe player 1 is a battle master, and that's what happens. He's used that disarming strike. Player 1 says, well, can I pick it up and throw it across the room? DM, yes. Player 1, he can't try to stop me? DM, no, it's not his turn yet. So player 1's going to use his interact with an object as part of his action or move. Player 2 gets elated. Oh, cool, he's disarmed. I'm going to run over to our now disarmed foe and grapple him. Dice are rolled. DM says he fights back and pushes you away. Player 2, dude, I thought you said it wasn't his turn. DM, it's not. Player 3, well, I guess because it's not the Black Knight's turn, I'm going to stop engaging with him and run over to where the big lever is so I can pull it to stop the bad thing from happening. Because, of course, the Black Knight and his minions or, allies are going to have a bad thing happen, right? DM, okay, he hits you with unarmed strike. Player 3, what the hell? DM, that was his reaction. You just gave him an attack of opportunity. You didn't disengage, you just ran away. Player 3, wait a minute. He just fought back when player 2 was trying to grapple him. DM, that wasn't his reaction. He just gets to do that. Player 3, wait a minute. Why didn't he use his reaction to stop player 1 from picking up the sword and throwing it across the room? I'll have to turn the page now for my notes. DM, he doesn't get to use his reaction to do that. Player 3, I'm so confused. DM, the Black Knight's commander appears on the balcony above you. Apparently it's this guy's turn in initiative now, because we've been going in initiative order. He throws an axe at player 3 and misses. And as a battle master, he forgoes his second attack action and uses his bonus action as the commander's strike maneuver, commanding the Black Knight to attack player 1. Player 1's like, oh crap, I don't want to get hit with an unarmed strike. DM, no need to worry. He's already used his reaction to hit player 3. He needs to use a reaction to do that, to respond to the commander's strike, so you're safe. Player 4, the smart one. I don't trust any of this. This whole thing is driving me nuts. I don't know what's going on. I'm just as confused as player 3. I'm staying where I am, out of harm's way, and I'm casting Acid Splash at the Black Knight. We'll deal with his boss later. DM rolls dice. He makes his dexterity save and jumps out of the way of the bubble. Player 3 loses his mind at this point. But wait a minute. He just hit me with his reaction. How the hell did he just jump out of the way of that spell? DM, that's not a reaction. He just gets to do that. Player 3, but it's not his turn. DM, right, it's not his turn. Player 5, okay, I'm shooting my crossbow at the Black Knight. Finally the rogue gets to go. Dice are rolled. DM, that roll's a miss, and I'm going to narrate that as him jumping out of the way. Player 3. That's not a reaction? DM. Of course not. That's pretty silly, but this illustrates, one of those things that happens, as this game got written and not written terribly well, is it becomes this amalgam of the original abstract mechanics, things that become like legacy mechanics, like, your armor class being, part of your armor class being just your ability to jump out of the way, and you can do that as many times as possible. Doesn't matter if it's on your turn, that's part of your defense. Things like the saving throw mechanic, which are just legacy, and there's nothing that says you can't save multiple times during a turn. So it assumes, as you see the description of what saving throws are, that you're jumping out of the way, at least for a dexterity save, which is the type I included. And, so everything's going fine along like that, and you have like opposed rolls. Somebody tries to grapple you, you get to fight back because that's an opposed roll. It's not your turn, but you're being attacked, so you're drawn into a clash, to steal a term from another game, from Circle of Hands. But I'm just, that's funny. But the idea is you're being drawn into a conflict with somebody else. It's an opposed roll, so you get to oppose. You're not using an action to do that, right? That's abstract mechanics. And then we throw in something like reactions, like attacks of opportunities, where all of a sudden they feel the need to throw in this very granular currency, so you don't get more than one reaction, because that might be unbalanced, it might be unfair, it might break the game, and so you get this one reaction, you don't get to do anything else. But then everything else in this whole example, including things like not being able to, then interact with a person that's disarmed you, but because disarm is poorly written and it just says the item drops at their feet, now they have to use their interact with an object. Free action to interact with this, but you can't fight them at that, because that would maybe be a reaction, right? And so it's this mismatch of the way the rules operate, as they're trying to force two different rule types together, abstract and granular, and you end up with this thing that looks ridiculous. And imagine these people as new players, or new players to Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe they're used to playing a better written game, and they're playing 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, and they're scratching their heads. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And as I go through the series, if you played Dungeons and Dragons for a long time, if you played through a bunch of the different editions of it, try to look at it from this angle. Try to look at it, don't be defensive, because I'm not attacking the game as such. I'm looking at the game for what it is. I'm looking at the writing and seeing where it becomes opaque, confusing, contradictory, badly designed. It's okay to look at things and declare, hey, this part right here, bad design. And good game design is important. And some people have brought some stuff up about rules and whether too many rules are bad or whatnot. But that kind of ushers in a different topic about games with rules that play nice together and don't play nice together, and intentional design. But that's a different topic.